I'm the tortoise.
And I'm the hare.
And welcome to our book club.
Pretend I know what I'm doing, because I guarantee you I don't know what I'm doing.
I mean, I usually also don't know what I'm doing, so that's fine.
At any point in my life, I don't know what I'm doing. So.
Oh no. Then we're both screwed.
Yeah. Hey, at least one of us has notes sometimes.
I mean, I have notes, but it's like, I don't even, like, I vaguely remember the plot. I mainly just remember the things that made me go, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. So this will be interesting.
Are these good oh shits or bad oh shits?
Mostly good. Mostly good.
Are we holding on to the oh shit handle in the car, or?
At the end we are, but that's almost like
okay.
True, like, SJM and Rebecca Yarros, like, fashion. The last, like, chunk of the book is like, oh my god, what's happening?
Yes. The last 10%, everything falls apart.
Yeah. Yeah. Pretty much.
Classic.
But it's also, like, when I was watching some interviews of her talking about her series, a lot of people were talking about how, like, she's following, like, a W plot structure. Because it's 5 books, and apparently that's, like, a standard structure for a 5-book series.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, W.
Yeah, I was like, falling action, rising action, falling action, rising action.
Yeah, so it's basically like, but the thing in the W structure, everyone was talking about before the book came out, they were like, okay, if she's following the W structure, which she said she is, then then a problem happens, things get bad in book 2, and book 3 actually makes that problem worse. That's how, like, the W structure works, apparently. Like, make a problem, then make it worse. Instead of solving it. And oh boy, do they make it worse.
Oh no.
So, by the way, I've already hit record.
Hey, surprise.
I just, the moment you started saying, like, you don't know what you're doing, I'm like, me too. This is the perfect time to start recording.
See, when we don't do this in person, you can be sneaky.
I get to be sneaky. It's fun. I like being sneaky.
I love that for you.
Thank you.
It just goes to show that I truly don't know what I'm doing. So.
I don't know what the hell I'm doing either. I'm just faking it till I make it.
Hey, you explained the W structure well.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I'm looking up an AI overview. So
oh, nice.
Thanks, AI.
Yeah, thank you, AI. It tends to work kind of in our favor for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
Listen,
yes.
I said ever since I found that new AI game with the, like, Twitter feed thing.
No.
It's been so fun. Is
it your whole life now?
No, because, and this is, like, a fun little structure point of the game. So you have a certain amount of energy you can spend in a day. And if you go slow, you get to play longer, because then the energy actually, like, recharges faster, or will recharge if you take your take your time with it. But if you, like, keep going playing back to back, it actually zaps the energy a lot faster, and then you get locked out of the game unless you want to pay.
See, my dopamine little receptors could never. It would be like, oh no.
Well, like, I end up switching back and forth between Status, the Twitter game, and Character AI, and then fan fiction. Okay. I just cycle between those 3, and it works out pretty well. However, I have found a new guilty pleasure that my friend will call me out on in an upcoming Instagram video that we're collabing on. In which we're doing, like, passing, like, I'm gonna pass the phone to someone who, those videos?
Yes, yes.
I'm passing the phone to someone, da-da-da, right?
Yeah.
So, like, we start with, like, I start it with, I'm passing the phone to somebody who cried for an hour after reading Onyx Storm. And then hers was like, I'm passing the phone to somebody who cried 3 times while reading Onyx Storm, because I did. I cried during the story. I was like, oh God.
You cried?
I cried. I never cry in books.
I know. That's why I'm saying you cried.
I know. So that happened. What was her next one? Oh, my next one, which I was like, oh, this hurts me. I was like, well, I'm passing the phone to somebody who can't get over Liam's death.
Me?
Yeah, same. And of course, she decides to call me out on, the next one, and she's like, her line that she's gonna record is, well, I'm passing the phone to somebody who would willingly date Jack fucking Barlow.
This is true. That is a red flag.
I am a red flag.
Yeah, you know the TikTok, Instagram red flag guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's running behind you right now.
But I can fix him.
You can't fix him.
Oh no.
As somebody who has not read, which one is this, Onyx Storm?
Yeah.
You can't fix him.
Yeah,
I don't know what happened in Onyx Storm, but I'm just...
He was barely in Onyx Storm. He was kind of there, but like not in a major, as much of a way as he was in like Fourth Wing.
Okay.
He played like a side character role to help push along the plot. But so that's now been the running joke, and then the reason I say is because in Status, one of the ones I'm doing right now, I picked Jack as the first one, and I'm trying to romance him right now.
Oh, ew!
It's working. It's working, and he's still a jackass.
I'm sorry, not man. That boy has never had any affection in his entire life.
You know, that's probably it. Yeah. But the point is, she's gonna say that to me. My response to her, and we'll get into this when we start talking about Onyx Storm because of some stuff, but I'm like, well, okay. I'm passing the phone to somebody who's into a married man. Because she's...
Which one?
Let's talk about it. So,
okay,
that's a great segue into Onyx Storm.
Onyx Storm.
No games today.
You're gonna try to convince me to read it.
No games today. We are
no games today.
Getting into Onyx Storm and kind of low key Fourth Wing, I think, in general. Because I think something that I've realized with Onyx Storm, and even with the other 2 books, you kind of have to talk about the books as a whole. It's really hard to talk about the books individually, at least in my opinion, because, like, you can, obviously, like, but talking about them in connection to each other is much more fun and much more interesting, and has a little bit more, like, carryover.
The mark of a good series, I think.
Yes, it is.
I'm finding it series, at least.
Yes. But before we get into it, anybody who listens, send us fan mail. There's a link down below. Send us fan mail.
Fan mail.
We haven't gotten any
Tell
yet.
us your opinions on Onyx Storm, or tell us that you think our opinions are stupid. That's fair.
Yeah, you can roast us. Roast us.
Just literally say something.
Anything. You could say the word anything.
Yes. Put anything in your comment and we'll know you listened.
Yeah, there you go. And we'll bring it up later to make sure you remember. But, okay. So, did you find the summary, or...
I did. I closed it, though, because I got distracted. Hold on. There it is. Okay. Onyx Storm, right?
Yeah.
That's the correct one?
That is the correct one, not Iron Flame.
Not Iron Flame. Okay. The summary here, courtesy of Barnes & Noble. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. After nearly 18 months at Biscayeth War College, Violet Sorengale knows there's no more time for lessons, no more time for uncertainty. Because the battle has truly begun, and with enemies closing in from outside their walls and within their ranks, it's impossible to know who to trust. Now Violet must journey beyond the failing Aretian wards to seek allies from unfamiliar lands to stand with Navarre. The triple test every bit of her wit, luck, and strength, but she will do anything to save what she loves. Her dragons, her family, her home, and him. Even if it means keeping a secret so big it could destroy everything. They need an army. They need power. They need magic. And they need the one thing only Violet can find, the truth. But a storm is coming, and not everyone can survive its wrath. The Empyrean series is best enjoyed in order.
I just realized something.
I didn't realize that was that part of it.
It's fine. I just realized, oh my god, that summary actually has a reference. Oh, that's cool. Oh my god. Okay. So, let's talk about it. Sorry, I didn't after knowing the books, I was like, oh my god, they actually reference this thing in the summary in a very clever way.
Okay.
Okay. So, like they mentioned, so if you remember in Iron Flame, they were trying to bring up the wards, right? And they figured out they needed Dragonfire, but they needed 7 dragons. And it turns out Andarna was the 7th dragon. She's a new breed. They're like, holy shit, there's another, den of dragons. There's another kind of dragon out there. And so they get the wards, and they end up getting the wards in Basgiath back up after the Venin break the Navarre's ward stone, killing Violet's mom, Lilith, in the process. So now they're they kind of have wards in Orisha. Tyrandor kind of has wards, but not really. They're gonna go down. And it keeps going down. Their time frame keeps decreasing, in the beginning of the book.
Okay.
So they're okay, there's a couple things that they're okay, we need, like I said, they need an army, and they need allies badly. And most importantly, they need the truth. They need to figure out, what the fuck is happening.
Okay.
So, there's some stuff that happens for really good political maneuvering happens in the beginning of the book.
Interesting.
I love it.
What is it?
So, basically, in the very beginning of the book, they're okay, we need all these people, we need these things, we need to figure this out. But they also need to figure out, Andarna's family, basically, because that is the key to getting the Orishan wards back up, and the key to creating wards, period. They need Andarna's, race to create wards. So Navarre has this invested interest in, at this point, getting that information, because at this point, it's Navarre, Pormel, so the people the Griffin Riders, country, they're now allies. At the beginning of this book, they're now allies.
Okay.
And so they're we need these people they need wards then. If we're going to work with them and we're going to defeat the Venin, we need them on our side. And so they're working on that.
They can't keep getting attacked.
Yeah. They're we got to work together now. We're here. We got to do this. So, they end up creating, a group, right? That are meant to go off and find Andarna's, kind. Now, Violet's on there because Andarna needs to be there, and she's a lightning wielder. It's the easiest way to deal with the fucking Venin.
Right.
However, through all of this, she is being stalked by a sage, I believe.
Crazy.
By one of the sage Venin, named Theophany. And boy, oh boy, are people thirsty over Theophany on the internet.
No.
Because she's supposedly pretty hot. But the thing is, it's interesting because at this point, we also know the other plot line, right? Is Xaden is Venin.
Yes.
And that's Violet's other goal, is to figure out how the fuck to fix him. Right?
Unvenin him.
Yeah, unvenin him, however the fuck that's gonna happen. So, he can kind of be in the wards because of just, they're not good. He's not fully venin yet, he hasn't fully gone, all venin on them.
She just made a little strong arm.
Hulk. I'm thinking Red Hulk when I did that. But he's there. He's, doing his best not to pull from the earth, but the fact that these fucking high-level venom keep coming after them means he has to keep pulling from the earth.
Which makes him more venom?
Yes.
Okay.
So the more you pull from the earth, the more venom you become, and the more you learn how to use that ability, the more you learn how to channel from the ground, the stronger you become. So the higher, because there's like an initiate, and then there's the next level, and then there's sage, and then there's mavens, I think they're called, as the top level. So Zayden's only an initiate. He only has like the ring around his eye. The red ring around his eye. So they're just like trying to keep him that way until they figure it out, right? So that shit's happening. And while all that's happening, this is where the political maneuvering comes on. So we have our two things. We have find Andarna's people, fix Zayden. Now the Zayden thing's on the back burner, or kind of in the background, like secret. So because people don't fully know that Zayden's venom, he is sort of doing his job of representing Tyrandor, because at this point, Tyrandor is now, it's a thing, and they have to, everyone knows Orisha exists, they gotta bring Tyrandor and the Marked Ones kind of in on the fold, and the people who've been working in Orisha fighting the Venin have to now join Navarre as, like, their own political group.
Okay.
So pretend Tyrandor is, like, its own country, basically. So we have Tyrandor, Navarre, and the Poramel, the Griffin Riders' home country. I'm just not saying it right. It starts with a P. Poramel. I think it's Poramel. But so you have these three. Now they're entering into negotiations. So while Violet's trying to live her life and be at, Basgaeth, in the background, there is this alliance trying to go on between Tyrandor, Poramel, and Navarre. Because we were introduced, and I was so happy, to Halden. Halden, Crown Prince of Navarre.
Yes. Didn't he show up in the second one?
Yes, he showed up at the very end. Where he gets mentioned.
Not his little brother.
Not his little brother, not Eric.
Okay.
Not Eric Greycastle. Not Cam. His legal name's Cam, but he's called Eric in the book. Like from Violet's point of view, because he's in disguise.
He's undercover.
Yes. So this stuff is happening, and the political stuff all happens, and basically some of the things that come out of this meeting are, 1, Tyrandor is now officially a duchy again.
Oh. Congratulations, Zayden. You're a duke.
He becomes Duke of Tyrandor. Duke
Venin.
No one knows that, though, so he's Duke of that. And Violet is assigned to a squad who's gonna go after, try to find these, find Andarna's people. Now, they're trying to look in books on figuring out where to go. Dane's helping out. Dane is, cool in this book. Let me just say. He has a
love a redemption arc.
Dane, by the end of the book, everyone's like, holy shit, is Dane hot or what? Listen, we all now stand Dane Eyes on Me Atos, and I will contextualize that later.
Eyes on me. Okay.
I will contextualize that hotness later.
I need to fan myself.
But, so now then she's assigned to a squad. Point is, the squad, all dicks. All assholes.
As they do.
Especially the leader, because nobody wants to listen to Violet, who is actually I know where to go. Why would we
want to listen to the war hero several times over? But go off, King, I guess.
Yeah. And the one person who actually, understands what's going on and has been doing this research and working on all this. So they end up, in the beginning, going, the leader of this squad that's appointed by, King Tari and them, of Navarre, is they go off, and they all die. Most of everyone on that squad dies.
Classic.
I believe, if I remember correctly, it was Theophany that actually did it. The Venin that's, stalking...
Okay, the hot Venin.
The hot Venin that's stalking Violet.
Yes.
Because, and this is another interesting plot line, Theophany is stalking her because she's expecting Violet to turn Venin.
Oh.
That through Zayden, she will turn venom, and Theophany will become, like, her mentor.
Okay.
That's what Theophany's trying for.
How is that gonna happen through Xaden?
So basically, like, because Xaden's gonna... She keeps telling Violet, basically, Xaden's gonna give in to the power. He's gonna come to our side. So you might as well come with him, and I'll take care of you. I'll make sure that you're trained properly.
Okay, Mommy.
Yeah. Oh, no. So that stuff's happening. So eventually, Violet grows a really good backbone, and is like, listen, this is who's coming with me. We're going to the Isles, and we're gonna deal with this. Like, we're gonna go find Andarna's thing. We're going to the islands. Fuck you.
Yes.
Now, the Isles...
Finally, Violet.
Yes, so she gets that, and Riddick joins, of course, and Riddick is, like, A+ material in this book. He's, like, the bestest of friend. He's the best friend. Because most people who go on this quest, who he calls Quest Squad, by the way.
Love Riddick.
Quest Squad. Riddick, we really get to see him as a character in this book, because while they're on this, adventure to the islands, and they're island hopping, trying to find Andarna's Andarna's family, as she calls it. He's like, I'm going to be here for you because literally, because he's like, Violet, I adore you. You're my friend. I care for you. We're squad mates. And if you haven't realized, all these people who you're with right now are on Xaden's side originally. They're Xaden's people. You don't have anyone in your corner that's yours. That was originally yours. Except for me. So Riddick just becomes fucking cool.
Nice.
And I
love that guy.
He's such a badass. So they start going that. Now, this is where I said the interesting thing about the summary you read. So if you pull it back up, if you happen to have it, it's like, she will need wit, strength, and what was that line?
She will need every bit of her wit, luck, and strength, but she will do anything to save what she loves.
Okay, so wit, luck, and strength are referring to the gods!
The gods?
Yes, so one of the things that was on my list of give it to me and I'll be happy, if you remember, was fleshing out the Pantheon.
Yes.
And that happened.
Ooh. Okay. I do love a Pantheon.
So, the Quest Squad is on its way to the islands. Now, each island is kind of its own government, basically. Like, each island is its own little country. Now, the first island they go to is, like, the atheist island. Like, they do their own thing. They're trying to... Like, the guy who runs it is super possessive and kind of an asshole, and Halden has to go along. Now, Halden's hilarious in this because, first of all, he's an asshole, and Violet's ex.
Oh, I don't think I knew that.
Yeah, Violet's ex who cheated on her with a teacher.
Ew.
A redheaded teacher, apparently. So... He's in the funny part, so they're all traveling. Halden, though, isn't a griffin rider. He's not a dragon rider. So he has to fly in a basket.
Oh, poor little Halden in the basket.
So he gets carried around in a basket to the islands. And so the first island they go to, like I mentioned, it's the island, like Atheist Island. It's just people, they do their thing. Because each island has a god that, like, they like, it's that island is like the main island of the god. So they go to the Atheist Island first, and Halden goes in to, like, represent Navarre and fucks it all up.
Classic.
And eventually they get out of it. That's what you get
from a cheater.
Yeah. Now I don't remember everything that happens on that island other than, like, eventually they get out of it. So that was great. Then they go to the next island. Now, if I remember correctly, my brain's going to get fuzzy. I don't remember the order of the islands. I just remember what happened at each of the islands.
Okay.
So, I believe the next one is actually Dune's Island. Now, Dune's Island is strength.
Strong.
Right? Because she's goddess of strength, war and strength.
Okay.
So, they go to her island, and it's all female warriors, pretty much.
Love that.
But the thing is, so, one of the big keys we learn in this book is we actually get to learn Papa Sorrengail's name.
What is it?
Asher.
Asher?
Asher
That's the
Sorrengail.
anti-fanatic.
So the thing, no, but he's a fun character.
Okay.
Because we learn so much about him in this book.
Mm-hmm.
So when we find out, though, that I think it is at Dunes Island that they recognize Violet as Asher's child.
Does she look like him?
I have no fucking idea. But the thing is, though, they recognized her, and this is kind of spoiler for stuff that happens later on in the book. I believe it happens later. So her dad had been there and brought Violet with him.
Oh.
Because we find out later in the book that there's a thing that used to happen that was made not really illegal, but kind of illegal, very deeply frowned upon. I don't think it was illegal. Mm-hmm. That people used to like dedicate their children to a god when they were born.
Interesting.
Basically,
what would that do?
Basically being like, my child will follow this particular god's like religious path, or like path in general. And it turns out Papa Sorrengail did that to Violet.
Ooh.
To Dune specifically.
Ooh.
And we find out later though that the Dune women, the warrior women, would use like a certain thing, like would use like dye their hair so that on the bottom it was silver.
Oh, but she has it naturally.
Yeah, because she was, I think my theory is, because it's not really confirmed, but my theory is that because she was dedicated to Dune as a child, and it turns out the gods are real, like they take an active role, like a low-key role, but they take a role.
Mm-hmm. And that was one thing you wanted to see.
That was one thing I was hoping to see.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my theory of why Violet has that naturally like brown to silver hair is because she was dedicated as a child.
And when you say dedicated and that they take on that god's life role, do they like do they become like a demigod? Do they become like just following the same challenges and story that the god had?
I think it's more like it's like a promise that they'll be a follower of that god. I don't think
Violet wasn't.
Yeah, because she didn't know. And we don't really know fully what it means to dedicate a baby to a god yet. Mm-hmm. We do know by the end of the book that there is the implication that because Violet was dedicated to Dune and recognizes that and then by the end of it she recognizes Dune as like somebody who is a protector or is like almost her goddess, like in air quotes there. She gets the protection of that goddess by the end of the book.
So if something happens to her, Dune will fight on her behalf?
Yeah, we'll help her out, and I'll explain more as we get there because there's some interesting stuff there.
Do you think that her mom knew, and that was why she forced her to be in the Rider Squadron?
I don't think so. Based on some of the details in the book, I think Papa Sorrengail fully did that on his own. Okay. Because it turns out he used an alias while he was in the Isles. Okay. So, like, he used his first name, he kept it Asher, but I don't remember what his second name was. I don't remember what the surname was. But that's when... It was not Sorrengail. And when they recognized, like, oh, you're Asher's daughter, they called him Asher, whatever that other last name was. Yeah. So that was interesting. Also, funny fucking moment. Xaden gets mistaken as Dane.
Poor, I bet he hated that.
He did, because someone was like, wow.
I bet that keeps him up at night.
Because, like, one of the people was just like, wow, they described you so accurately, Dane Atos, straight to his fucking face. was so
Smack
funny.
down that pride there, Zayden.
I was like, oof, that's gotta hurt.
That's like one of those moments.
But I will say Zayden was having a grand old time over in the Isles because there's no magic in the Isles.
Oh, so he didn't have to worry?
He actually, like, in the book, there's this whole moment where he talks about how, like, he felt so relieved and, like, a burden wasn't on his shoulders because he couldn't feel any magic, like, at all.
Yeah.
And so he didn't have to worry about trying to take from the ground because it's not there.
That's interesting. If it's still on the Earth, or on the whatever the planet is, then why would it not be there?
Yeah. It is interesting.
Because, like, were Violet's powers, what's the word that I want? Augmented? Increased by being on Dunes Island?
No, I don't. Not that I remember. Nothing like that. They did have to fight, though.
Oh.
They did have to fight, like, to get, like, allies out of the Dune people. Like, so they go to each island. There's, like, a little challenge that they all have to fulfill in order to gain allies from that island.
That makes sense.
So they did that. So I believe they won the challenge on Dunes Island and got some help from them.
Okay.
I think that
Helpful.
memory is fuzzy. I could be wrong.
Not one of the parts you cried about?
Nope. So moving on.
Okay.
The next island I remember is... Okay, so the next one I remember is Hedion's island. So we get a new god. We get the god of wisdom or wit. She must use her wit.
Okay. Yes. There it is,
so,
from the summary.
Yes, from the summary. We go to Hedion or Hedion, something like that. He's the god of wisdom. Mm-hmm. And there, it gets juicy. Are you ready to know who we meet?
What kind of juicy?
Are you ready to know who we meet on this island?
Who do we meet?
Zayden's mom.
She's alive? Oh yeah, she left him. Didn't she, like, abandon him? Okay, yes.
Yep.
Is she a bitch?
Oh,
Do we
yes.
hate her?
We hate her.
Okay.
So, on Wisdom's Island, they're ruled by something called, like, the Triumvirate or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Triumvirate.
So three rulers.
Yes.
And each of them, each of them are there. One of them is married to Zayden's mom.
The Triumvirate.
Yeah, one of the Triumvirate is married to Zayden's mom.
Oh my
and
gosh.
Add on top of that, you know what else? Two sons.
What is it? He's got brothers?
He's got 2 half-brothers.
I bet he hated that.
It was rough.
Yeah.
So...
that opens up a whole new little fun can of trauma for him.
Uh-huh. So they are all there, and basically the mom is like, you know what, come have dinner, come do this, like, sit down, talk with us, and we'll talk out, like, what we can give you. Like, we'll talk about, like, how we can come to an amicable, deal.
Not my love and affection as my child.
Yeah.
So
they are, at this dinner with the Triumvirate and all this stuff, and, of course, they bring up the fact that Zayden had broken off his engagement with Kat, who is there.
I hate her.
Kat is there. We like Kat now.
Why is she there?
We like Kat now. We like Kat now. She becomes a better person.
Can she?
Yes. She does genuinely become a better person.
Jury's still out on my book.
That's fair. So Kat's there along with, like, Drake, who is, I think, her cousin or something like that.
Okay.
It's like Drake, Kat, Mira, Zayden, Riddick. Fuck, I'm gonna have to look up Quest Squad. Who all is there? Because who is there is very important.
Okay.
Quest Squad. I don't remember. Quest Squad, Onyx Storm.
It sounds like all the major hitters.
Yeah, the major hitters are there. Okay, so here we go. Okay, members. So, Violet, Xaden, Eric is there.
Okay.
Catriona, Dane, Riddick, Mira, Drake, Cadet Marin, who's like Kat's friend, Cadet Traeger, who's also Kat's friend. Garrick is there.
Mm-hmm.
He died. Halden is there. That's it. Yes, that's it. So, who am I looking for? There is a name I was looking for because it's important in the next island.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking hell. I have to look this up now. Damn it. Come on, somebody tell me. It is Traeger. Okay, because Traeger's important.
Okay.
Okay, so they're on the island and they're all sitting there. They're having dinner, and Violet already kind of beforehand realized that something was up, and they start eating, right?
Eating?
Yeah,
dinner. Because
dinner.
she invited them to dinner.
Yeah,
Okay.
because jackass mom invited them to dinner with the triumvirate.
Yes.
So and during this, they're like, "Hey, you should, how about this? You temporarily end your relationship with Violet. It would be more wise for you to have this engagement with Kat, and for Violet, it'd be better for you to have some sort of engagement to somebody else."
Why?
And there's like, this is more wise. I don't fucking remember the reasoning.
Oh, okay.
I'll remember. So
Not important then.
Not important. And basically, Xaden goes all, "No. I don't think I'm gonna do that.
You lost your right to tell me what to do with...
No."
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that happens, and when they start, I think it was Garrick that like straight up dug in. He suddenly drops to the ground.
They kill him?
They poisoned him.
Is he alive?
He's still alive. So he's on the ground, though, suffering.
Of course.
And Violet's like, if you
Yeah.
don't... And, like, Violet realized, though, because the drink that... The tea... So the herb that they use, or, like, the tea that the mom used to always make for Xaden, it turns out, like, as a kid, along with, like, his chocolate cake or whatever, is actually poisonous in a certain dose.
Oh. So she was, like, building up his tolerance?
So, like, she recognized the herb, though, and when they used it that day, she saw it, like, in the kitchen, and she realized, oh, shit, they're gonna poison us.
Who did?
Violet. Because she,
Okay.
if you remember, she low-key is super into poisons, if you remember from book 1.
Yes.
So, Garrick drops, and she's like, well, I kind of fucking knew this was gonna happen, so that's why I sent Andarna to go look at your kids.
Oh.
You remember them? Your 2 little boys?
Yeah.
Because she also saw that, while they were, like, waiting for dinner or whatever to happen, she saw the sons getting, like, sent away. Xaden's half-brothers being sent off.
Okay.
And so she sent Andarna, and Andarna is there, like, looking at her kids, like, and so Violet's like...
Ready to eat with her teenage attitude?
Yes, ready to burn.
Yeah.
And so eventually they don't get the allyship, but they do get the antidote for Garrick.
Mm-hmm.
And he's all
At
good
least
to go.
he's still alive.
Yeah. So they don't get what they need, and they don't find Andarna's family, so they move on. And basically are just like, fuck you, never see you later again, bitch.
Yeah.
That's most of what I remember. But that was a really good scene. I really enjoyed it. It was much more of wit than anything, and it was really fun. Now...
Which makes sense for the island that they were on.
Yeah. Any questions so far?
I don't think so.
Now, the next island is where the luck part comes in.
Okay, luck.
Yeah. That was the third one.
Is that another god?
It is another god.
Yay.
The god of luck, Zinal.
Zenal.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's brought up
Does she call him a lot?
Kind of. They do mention him a good bit.
Okay.
And there's like a temple that they'll actually go to in like a previous book. Mm-hmm. They go to like his temple near the War College or something like that.
Okay.
So
I don't remember that at all.
I just vaguely remembered it because I was like, oh shit,
okay.
that's interesting. So they go and they are like, oh shit.
Oh no.
Because they're all these people are there waiting for them, and they're like, oh, we kind of knew you were coming. Like, we just got lucky that this was the day. And they're like, hey, if you happily accept if you play this game and you happily accept all the gifts we give you from this game, we'll give you an army.
Ooh, that sounds tricky.
Yeah, and they're like, so the way this game works is like you either pull you pull a card, and that's the gift you get.
Okay, because luck.
Yeah, because luck. So like, I believe Dane got punched in the face.
That was the gift.
Yes, let me look up the gifts. Gifts on Island of Zinal, because they were the gifts are important because they end up playing.
Okay.
I can't fucking Onyx Storm. I can't spell. The Zinal gifts. Let's see if someone... Okay, so Violet gets a like broken looking compass.
Okay.
Xaden gets an empty glass box about the size of his foot. Dane gets a slap to the face.
Oh, did he receive it happily?
Yes. Riddick gets 2 kisses on his cheeks.
Aw, love that for him.
Cat gets a ruby necklace. A golden ruby necklace. Mira gets wine.
Mm-hmm.
Eric gets a fractured hand mirror that cuts his thumb. Garrick gets a rusted steel bucket. Oh, this is the best part. Drake, or let me, I'll save the best for last too. I'll do the best for last two. So Marin gets 2 orange tunics.
Okay.
Drake, who is, I think, like, Kat's, like, cousin or something.
Okay.
Gets an orange kitten.
Aww,
that he names Broccoli.
Cute.
And now we love
There's
Broccoli.
Okay.
We love Broccoli.
Yeah. Yes.
Broccoli is my new favorite character. And luckily, Rebecca Yarros said that there are only 2 characters that are confirmed to be safe. Jacinia and Broccoli.
Yes.
That's it. No one else is safe.
I think the fandom would probably riot if something happened to Broccoli.
Yeah. Now, there's one more left.
Is it Violet?
No, I already told you Violet. She got a compass.
Oh, right. Yes.
So you know how I mentioned we like Cat again?
Yeah.
So Cat, she got a ruby necklace, right? But through all of this, like, Cat's being, like, a genuinely, like, not necessarily she kind of slowly becomes Violet's friend.
Okay.
But she also slowly develops a relationship with this guy named Traeger. Cadet Traeger.
Okay. Yeah.
Traeger's gift on the Islands of Null, we're only about halfway through the book, okay?
Okay.
Traeger's gift?
Yeah.
Is an arrow to the heart.
Oh.
He dies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do they happily receive that?
They have to.
Oh my god.
They have to smile and say thank you as their friend dies.
Wow. Luck was not on his side. Is that why we like Kat? Because she has a sad story?
No, like, she actually, through the process, okay. Like, she genuinely starts to like this guy, and, like, I'm cheering for him, because Kat's, like, a decent person now, and, like, she, even with, when he dies, like, she's still a decent person.
Okay.
Like, at 6. So she just becomes a lot more humanized beyond the, I'm here to be the nasty ex. You know?
Yeah, I'm glad she developed at least a character story.
Yeah. So, that's the island of Zanal.
That is is that the only character that dies? Because I know there was something about...
Yeah, there's another character that dies at the end. Imogen's friend, Quinn.
Okay.
Dies at the end, which was really sad. I was like, oh.
Poor Quinn.
That was one of the moments I cried. Just because the way it was very well written.
Okay.
I didn't
With
feel...
Quinn or Traeger?
Quinn. Did I cry for
Okay.
Traeger? I might have. I know I, lost my mind. But I remembered Quinn's death making me cry just because of how beautifully written it was.
Mm-hmm.
I'd have to flip through the book to remember the 3 times I cried.
That's such a crazy event, though, on the Island of Luck.
Oh, yeah. And so they got, an army of 15,000 people, I think it was.
That's a lot of people.
Yeah. So that's, the only island they managed to secure, help from.
But what are foot soldiers gonna do?
Be cannon fodder.
They're not gonna distract anything. They're not gonna be able to attack anybody.
I mean, they will. Venons still fight on the ground.
Do they?
Yeah.
They don't ride their little wyverns?
The wyverns are too busy dealing with the dragons.
Oh.
So they end up in hand-to-hand combat a decent amount in the books, actually.
Okay.
So they've hopped most of the islands. There's, one place left. And this is where we find, Andarna's family. Andarna's species. She's super...
So they're not all dead?
No, they're not. They've been in hiding.
Okay.
They've purposely been in hiding. So we meet them, and they're called the Idris. That's what they're called. And when they meet Andarna, they, because she's like, oh my god, I'm so excited to meet you all. Mm-hmm. And they find out, actually, all the Idris can talk to all of them.
Oh.
So that mind
link... They
link...
don't have to be bonded?
No.
Interesting.
So
can Andarna talk to all of them?
She could if she wanted to.
Okay.
She has to learn how to, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So she's learning about this. She's like, I'm so excited, da-da-da. And they all look at her and they're like, why are you like this to Andarna?
Oh, like what?
They're like, oh, you're not a feather tail. You don't have feathers on they all are feather tails.
Oh.
And they're like, why are you black? Why are you, rainbow-esque, she blends in.
Yeah.
But why do you have, a tail that is, a weapon? What is that? Why did you do that?
Oh. It was her choice?
It was her choice.
Oh.
So, we find out when Andarna, went through that, sleep and then became, this, she kind of looks like Taryn a little bit, right?
Right.
She's like Taryn. And she explains that she chose that look and that tail because she wanted to protect Violet. She wanted to be one of Violet's dragons, and she wanted to kind of be like Taryn.
Mm-hmm.
She wanted to be... Yeah, like her dad.
Aww. And
so... But when she meets the Idris, they're like, how fucking dare you? We're meant to be peaceful. We're meant to... You're a disgrace, basically.
But did they have fire as Feathertails?
I think so.
Okay.
But they're like, you're built for war. The humans corrupted you. You're not one of us.
Oh, Andarna.
And they completely turn her away.
Oh, Andarna.
Yeah.
How is that? I mean, I don't know if it goes into it, but how is it their justification like that when every dragon starts as a Feathertail?
Well, I think it's because they're Idris, because of their specific, line. That Idris are meant to be, peacekeepers or something.
How could you keep peace if you're the size of their toenail?
I know, right? I probably have to go back and read that section again.
Do you think it even says anything about it?
I think it does.
Okay.
Like, they're meant to be, like, a certain kind of species, and because humans became so corrupt, I believe is, like, the wording they used, that they decide to ditch humans and go live on the island.
Yet they left one of their kind behind.
Yeah. And so they're all, but, like, everyone's just like, please, like, you need to help us, the Venom are gonna kill us, and they're like, we don't care. That sounds like a you
That's
problem.
on you, bro.
Exactly. So, I'm trying to think. So they have to go back?
They just leave them?
They have to.
Because they won't be any help in a war anyway.
Yeah.
They don't have claws. They're little
pad
feet.
They have claws.
I didn't think so.
They do. They're still dragons.
Yeah, I know, but like the whole description of the feather tails was that they have pads on the bottoms of their feet.
Did they?
Yeah, I think so. Let me just look it up. You keep talking, I'll look it up.
Okay. But so they head back, and they get there, and I don't quite remember. Like, Andarna, you know, is like distraught.
Of course, as one would be.
Yeah. And so they're back and like, fuck. But then, like, the place that they're in gets attacked.
The Feathertails?
No, they're back in Navarre, and they get attacked by, like, Theophany.
Okay.
Hot Venom.
Hot Venom.
Okay, so they get attacked, and it's like Violet, like, basically just is like trying to protect everyone, and a lot of people get hurt in the process. And so there's this whole moment and discussion about, like, you cannot save everyone, so pick a path and stick to it.
Oh, no. Yeah. So they have to choose to kind of sacrifice people?
Kinda. It's like, you have to, like, once we make a plan, you have to stick to it because you cannot save everyone. Mm-hmm. Like, you are powerful, but you can't save everyone.
Okay, so I found the answer to the Feathertails. Their only form of defense is their teeth. They do not have the ability to breathe fire. They do not have claws and are unable to carry a rider.
Okay, there you go.
So I only asked about breathing fire because of the iron flame part of it.
Yeah. The Idris can breathe fire.
Okay.
And I'll get to that in a minute because some stuff changes towards the end.
Okay.
So they're fighting. That thing happens where some people get hurt, and Violet tries to save everyone. It doesn't really work out well. So now we find out a little keeps going, and is this when it happens? I think it is. Some stuff goes down, and one of the Idris dragons that was hearing Andarna out comes to Navarre.
Oh, so leaves behind the other ones?
Yes, leaves them behind, is like, I heard you. And I think, is this the moment where... I think this is the moment where he actually ends up, where this other dragon breathes fire and officially activates the Orishan Wardstone.
Okay.
Yeah, I believe there's an attack in Orisha. Violet tries to do too much, and luckily, like, this dragon comes in and helps out, brings up the ward, and they're all good to go. But he's like, hey, to Andarna, he's like, hey, I'd like it if you came back. We'll try this one more time. Like, I will help you convince them.
Oh. Is he Andarna's boyfriend?
No. He gives, like, dad vibes.
Oh, okay. I thought he was a young Feathertail.
Nope. That would be interesting. But they're not really Feathertails. They have feather tails, but they aren't Feathertails.
Oh, okay. But they're also golden color.
No, I don't think they are.
Okay.
They're like, I think with Andarna, her scale, like, because each dragon den is based on their color of their scales.
Yeah.
So I believe they're like reflections, is the Idris.
Okay.
Like, they reflect. They're like little chameleons.
Mirrors?
Yeah, they're little chameleons.
That's crazy.
I know, right?
I'm so interested in dragon lore.
Yeah, dragon lore is fun. But so he comes and he's like, hey, I'd like you to come with me. But one of the things we learn from, like, the first meeting with the Idris is that, like I mentioned, Andarna chose to look how she looks, and she also chose to form the bond.
Okay.
Like, she, like, unlike other dragons, like, Idris can, like, control magic, essentially.
Okay.
Like, they control magic, like, period. Mm-hmm. Like, that's kind of their thing.
Interesting.
And so, when the dragon goes or comes to get Andarna's like, I gotta do this. Like, this is what I have to do. And this is one of the moments I cried, I remember.
Aww.
Because Andarna breaks her bond with Violet.
Aw, so she could be apart from her?
Yeah, because if they were distant, it could have killed Violet, but at least with the bond broken, while that still could kill Violet, it will, like, she's less likely to die from a broken bond than from the distance.
Interesting.
Because like, Andarna can control magic to a certain extent, can choose to end the bond rather than, like, a forceful end, like with the death of Dee.
Right, and also she has Tarn.
Yeah, and she still has Tarn. So that happens, and we get Depresso Espresso Violet.
I bet we do. Yeah. Her little fiery teenager.
Yeah, it's bad.
She's gone.
It's very bad. And then so some life keeps going, and then we find out, though, Eric's, like, signet. That's what it's called.
Okay.
So it turns out he has, like, future sight.
Interesting. So don't they kill those people?
No, they kill people who can, like, they kill Intensics.
The readers.
The mind readers. Okay. But, like, Melgren can see the future. He sees battle future, but he can see the future.
Yeah.
He can see the outcome of battles. That's what it is.
Okay.
So Eric is like that. But he can, like, see the future in bits and pieces. So we find that out because he's kind of, like, saying, like, you need to do this, you need to do that. Like, he's, like, pushing people in the right direction to try to get a certain outcome. And this is when we get, like, the big battle of the book. It's like we're at the end of the book, basically. Okay. And Xaden's like, dude, I don't think I'm gonna make it. He's
I might be full venom.
Like, I don't think this is gonna work, right? And so they're fighting. So this comes together, and one of the things we've learned throughout the book, and this is where the Dune lore gets really interesting. So we find out that Theophany used to be a priestess of Dune, like a high-level priestess of Dune. Mm-hmm. And she became Venin and basically betrayed Dune. And the goddess got pissed.
How did she get earth magic when there's no earth magic on the island of Dune?
No, I believe she left. Like, they can still leave.
Okay.
So she used to be, and plus priestesses are still exist in Navarre.
Oh, okay.
Because they have the temples and stuff like that.
Gotcha.
So there's different ways she could have done it. But, she became Venin, betraying Dune, essentially, by doing that. Mm-hmm. And so when the final battle's about coming up, they give one of the priestesses, because I believe they protect, Eric tells her, like, protect this, no matter what you do, protect this Temple of Dune.
Okay.
Or this temple in general. I think it was the Temple of Dune. And in some way, Violet gets, like, a special dagger, like, from one of the priestesses of Dune. So now they make this plan.
A Dune dagger.
A Dune dagger. So they now make this plan, and now Violet has to fight Theophany, who is a sage. So, like...
Okay, so she's super powerful.
Super fucking powerful. But the thing we learn, and this is what's real... I find this also very interesting. Mm-hmm. Theophany is a storm wielder.
Like Violet is.
Violet's mom was.
Oh, are they siblings?
No. So we find out... No, it's interesting, though. They are connected. Okay. So, Violet, they're fighting, you know, trying to get, like... She has to stay... Violet's like, I have to stay away from her because if she channels, and, you know, she could kill me just by me being near her, right? Because they can just pull life from the ground. They drain they have the ability to, like, drain, so... Or venom can drain.
Heal?
No, yeah, it heals them, and I think it heals venom? I'm not sure.
Okay.
I'm not sure about that. But they can literally pull the life out of the area around them up to a certain amount, depending on how powerful they are.
That's scary.
Yeah, it's terrifying. It happens in the book. It happens in, like, the first book, I believe. And in the second book, like, when we see the venom, they do it, and it's like, holy shit. But, so Theophany and them, they're fighting, and Violet brings up, like, oh, shit, like, you're the Venom's answer to my mother. Because, like, you Storm Wielder versus Storm Wielder. And Theophany's like, no, she was Navarre's answer to me.
Oh.
And I'm like, oh, shit!
So, she's older.
Yes.
And does the lifespan of Venom change?
I think they're, like...
Do they live longer?
Yes, I do believe they live longer.
Okay. And
yeah.
Does the book ever address how they, like, make a certain signet wielder?
I don't think they ever... I don't think they've yet fully explained how Venom have signets.
Okay, because, like, I was just... How can they be answers to each other if it's just randomized?
Yeah, which it's not. That much is explained. Like, signets aren't necessarily randomized.
Okay.
Because the way it's explained in the books, and I think... I have a little theory that there's more to it. But the way the book explains it is that whatever you need most is what your signet will become.
Okay, so, like, they needed a storm wielder.
Yeah. So, like, it could be that, like, she eventually finds out about Venom maybe early on, which would be weird. So I'm not quite sure how the storm signet, like, then being answers to each other works out logically. That might be an answer for later books, because that was at the very end. So that sounds like something that will be explored in the next book.
It does.
But, so they fight, and Violet does beat Theophany, but not through, like, any, like, using her signet or anything like that. She ends up killing Theophany with the dagger.
Oh.
And normally daggers, like a regular dagger, wouldn't kill Venom, but when she stabs Theophany, there's this moment where it's like, you betrayed your goddess, and so she made sure you were taken care of.
It's a Dune dagger, not a normal dagger.
Yeah. So that moment, because it does kill Theophany.
Okay.
So that moment, that's kind of the moment where I, as a reader, was like, oh, so the gods are people. Like, they are characters.
They have influence.
They have deep influence, it sounds like.
Uh-huh.
So that happens.
Which is interesting, like, to decide the fates, and how do you justify that then in your mind if, for example, Liam falling in battle. And justify that with the decision of, let's say, Dune.
Well, I think it's sort of like, it's very Greek-esque in a way, where it's like gods can't necessarily directly interfere. Like, they can, like, for example, they can't interfere, like, it's battle, but they can't interfere with the natural cause of, like, if Liam's gonna die in battle, he's gonna die in battle.
Okay.
When in comparison to, Theophany used to be a priestess and committed treason against this goddess directly, and therefore, most likely, since it's a direct involvement, the goddess can get involved in a more direct manner. But not even direct, though. It's more of like, more like a nudge to my follower, hey, give Violet a dagger so she can kill Theophany.
Okay. Influencing the people in direct contact.
Yeah.
Contact with her.
Yeah. That's sort of the vibe I got. And even then, there's this theory that's people have been going around with book 2, when Violet is being tortured and Liam's, like, spirit shows up.
Yeah.
And people are saying, like, Malik actually interfered with that. So some people are like, well, now that the gods are a lot more involved in book 3, that maybe it feels like Violet has the blessing of both Dune and Malik.
Mm-hmm.
And now there's actually a theory that, like, every person might be, like, each signet or each something another might be influenced by a god. So every person might have, like, each dragon or each person might be, like, a way of a god or something like that. So that's an interesting little theory that I came across.
That is an interesting theory, especially when you put it up against the dragon's disdain for your puny human gods.
Yeah. When it's like, no, they're real, though, guys.
Yeah.
So that was interesting. So that's the final battle of the book. But Lord fucking knows the book ain't over.
Of course not.
So it's really interesting. The last couple chapters, like the last 5 to 10 chapters, actually bounce POVs.
Between.
So we have like, so we have Violet's. We had Imogen's.
Okay.
We had an Imogen POV. That's when Quinn dies.
Aww.
We have Rhiannon's POV.
I bet that was fun.
That was fun. Did we have a Xaden one? I don't think we did. Which is weird, because normally we have a Xaden POV.
Well, he's currently being Xenonified, so...
Yeah. So, but we bounced a couple POVs, and it was fun. I liked it. But by the end... So we're on the final chapter, right?
Mm-hmm.
And something happens. Violet's coming out. Everyone's like, where the fuck have you been? You've been missing for 12 hours.
Oh.
And Violet's like, what the hell? What are you talking about? And, like, on her hand, she's wearing a ring, and she has a note.
Mm-hmm. Oh?
It's, like, now I've left it all to you. Xaden.
And she doesn't remember this?
No, and she looks at Imogen. If you remember, Imogen has the ability to wipe memories.
Oh, no.
And so she looks at Imogen, and she's like, what did you do? And Imogen's like, what you asked me to do. And
what
so...
a cliffhanger.
That's how the book ends, because guess what? The other thing that we get, right, before she's like, holy shit, what happened? She has a scroll from a priestess of Dune saying that Violet and Xaden got married in those 12 hours.
But something happened.
So in those 12 hours they got... in those 12 hours they got married, and her memory got wiped of those 12 hours, and Violet asked Imogen to wipe those 12 hours.
Right. That's what I'm saying. So something happened in those 12 hours that was so drastic that she wants to not remember it.
No, I don't think it's that she doesn't want to remember it. I think if she remembers it, it's treason. And she wouldn't be able to go back to Navarre.
Oh.
Because at this point, Xaden's full venom. Like, he pulled from the earth way too much. He is now, and, like, he even straight up tells Violet, like, I can't resist the call of this other sage, who is now, like, basically, like, Xaden's, like, guardian venom, for lack of a better word. So Xaden's like, I have to go. Like, I can't stay.
Mm-hmm.
And so, in those 12 hours, my theory is that they got married to secure Tyrrendor.
So she's now the Duchess of Tyrrendor?
She's now the Duchess of Tyrrendor because she married Xaden.
Okay.
And that way, when everyone's like, where the fuck is Xaden? Oh, he's Venin? Okay, now Bodhi's Duchess of Duke of Tyrrendor. No, he's married. She's Duchess. It falls to her.
Okay. Gotcha.
So that's one thing I think happened. Secondly, one of the moments... We did have a Xaden POV. I remember now. We did. Because I was like, why do I feel like we had one and I don't... What? Because there's a moment where we actually... So, it was a brilliantly written chapter.
Okay. Where
Xaden fully dives into channeling from the earth. Mm-hmm. And he's like... We get this internal monologue of him trying to hold on to his soul.
Oh,
of like, don't take away my identity, don't take away my identity. Mm-hmm. I want to be me. I don't, and then there's like a moment where like, do not take her. And then the chapter ends.
Yeah.
And then that's all we get of Xaden. And then we're done. We don't see Xaden again. But So there's another theory going around that the ring isn't just like their wedding ring, that it actually might be a piece of Xaden's soul, like what's remaining left of like him being human.
Okay.
So
I
there's
don't
that.
like that one.
I'll
say that.
Yeah. But
that
I
one's
don't think it's that complicated. I really don't think it is.
No.
I think it's more like Xaden had a little bit of humanity left in him because when he channeled in the battle, they won the battle, they finished things off. Xaden has a little bit of humanity left because he's so stubbornly in love with Violet.
Okay.
That he has enough humanity in him to be like, okay, let's get married. I'm gonna go. We still have this connection because there's still like a connection to Sigale.
Is he still connected to, or I didn't think Venom could be?
I think he is. I don't think that's ever fully like
discussed.
Sussed out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, there's something there. I have to reread the Xaden chapter.
Okay.
But I think in those 12 hours, he still had enough in him for them both to be like, okay, here's how we're going to do this. Like, to make a plan, basically. Mm-hmm. But for her to know the plan means committing full, like, beyond, like, at this point, Tyrandor and Navarre are allies.
Yeah.
Right? So if she commits treason, like, she's donezo.
Mm-hmm.
Like, full donezo. Because right now, fucking Colonel Atos is the one who decides her fate.
And he's a jerk.
He's a jackass.
Yeah.
And so I think in those 12 hours they get married. They've come up with a plan that like literally nobody can know about.
Except Imogen does?
I don't think she does. I don't think she has to know the memories to wipe them.
Okay.
I don't know how her thing works.
Okay.
So, yeah. The 12 hours in the next book, getting covered in the next book is going to be really interesting.
Yes, it is. Too bad you have to wait like a whole 2 years for it.
I'm gonna have to wait 2 years for it, but it's fine. So, let's talk about the funny shit that happened with the fan fiction I sent you months and months and months ago.
Yes.
Remember that?
The fact that your little seer abilities are popping off.
My seer abilities were fully popping off for 2 reasons, actually, and that's the hilarious part. So, one, the connection to Dune, obviously.
Yes.
I was like, holy shit, I wrote her as being Dune, but turns out she's just dedicated to Dune and now technically a follower.
Technically Dune Part 2.
Yeah.
Dune 2.0, if you will.
Yeah. So that was wild. I was like, holy shit.
That is wild.
The second thing, if you remember, and this was like a little detail I wrote about in my little fan fiction, I was like, oh, Malik and Dune helped to overthrow like the old gods by sneaking into their dreams and killing them, right?
Yeah.
Guess what Violet's second signet is?
Dream walking.
Yes.
Really?
Yes!
How does that even work?
So, if you remember in the previous 2 books, remember when she would have those dreams of, like, fighting the Venom? Of, like, that sage being like, you're not gonna make it. Like, you can't resist. You remember that?
Yeah.
She was seeing...
you can't resist.
Yeah. She was seeing Xaden's dreams.
Oh.
That entire time, that was her being in Xaden's dreams.
Okay.
Because, like, that's the easiest mind for her to get into, obviously, because they're deeply connected.
Bonded.
Yeah.
Why is Xaden dreaming about becoming Venom before he becomes Venom?
Because basically, the way I understand it from the plot lines of the books is that there are certain powerful signets are only once in a generation, and I think book 4 is going to kind of explain probably the connection back to the original Dragon Riders.
Okay.
Like the first 6, I think is what they're called.
Yeah.
But each of them had like the most powerful signets of their generation, and that signet that they each had only shows up once per generation.
Okay.
So like Lightning Wielder, only 1 per generation. Shadow Wielder, 1 per generation.
Mm-hmm.
Stuff like that. So, I think the Venom target, once it's known that that person has that signet, the Venom, I think, then target that person.
Okay.
So, I think the Venom are always planning on going after Xaden.
Mm-hmm.
And when they realized, because there's traitors everywhere,
Right.
when they realized how deeply obsessed, essentially, Xaden is with protecting Violet,
Yeah.
they're like, you're gonna change. You're gonna change because you're gonna protect her. Because you're gonna protect her. You're gonna do whatever you can to protect her.
Yeah.
So they targeted him because of his signet.
Using his weakness against him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. And so they're sending dreams to kind of get in his psyche.
Mm-hmm. Break him down a little bit mentally.
Exactly.
Bit by bit.
Bit by bit. So Violet gets in, like, people's dreams and she realizes, oh shit, I can do this. But we don't get... Well, again, we'll see more of that signet in, I think, the next book. Like, in what she can actually do with it in the next book.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm trying to figure out the benefit of it. And...
I really think she could probably kill people in their dreams.
Yeah, but, like, when you die in a dream, you just wake up.
Not necessarily. You could call it a brain death.
Oh, that's fair. The death of the spirit or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
I mean, if there's magic and shit.
It sounds like... I mean, is there anything else in the book?
I'm trying to think anything fun. Oh, Dane, Eyes on Me, Atos, and Sloane Mari have a thing, low-key.
Oh, okay.
I was like, shit, dude.
I don't know that I like that, but okay.
Basically, she feels extremely guilty over killing Violet's mom in the second book. Like, she feels like she's guilty of killing her mom when Violet's like, no, my mom wanted to do that to save everyone.
Yeah.
So she's having, basically there's this whole, like, subplot line of Sloane being really afraid, like, being afraid to be around Violet and being afraid to use her signet. Mm-hmm. And they were doing something. I think they were trying to heal someone. Mm-hmm. And Dane was trying to, like, Sloane, they needed to channel to Brennan, I think. So Dane was trying to, was telling Sloane, hey, channel my magic, my energy into Brennan to heal this person.
Okay.
And Sloane was freaking out. Like, she's like, I can't do this. Last time I did this, I killed somebody. Yeah. Moment. And Dane's like, eyes on me. You can do this.
Eyes on me, Atos.
And I'm like, oh my god!
And that was when the entire fandom swooned.
A little bit, yeah. Dane became hot in this book.
I love that for him.
So there's that. I'm trying to think if there's anything fun in this. Halden's a jackass. But he's hilariously bad. Theophany, we talked about that. Xaden becomes Venom. They got secretly married, and that was one of my things I didn't want to happen. Fuck you.
At least it wasn't a secret baby.
At least it's not a secret baby. Though there are theories.
I have heard the theories.
But... Which would be interesting, because there is actually...
I feel like they would not bring a baby.
I don't think so either. But the way that Yarros kind of talks about how she writes the book is she does write war in a very realistic way because she was a military wife.
Sure.
And she was talking about like killing Liam in book 1 and how he was always she knew the moment she wrote Liam in that he was going to die.
Aww,
because he was already a perfect character. He didn't really have any growth to do. Mm-hmm. And she was saying how like her husband would go on deployment with his friends and then most of his friends wouldn't come home.
Right.
And she's like, that's just the reality of going to war.
Yeah.
She's like, I've been to one too many funerals, had to hold one too many hands, and all this stuff. And I'm like, okay.
We're not gonna glorify it.
Yeah, it's like, it's just the reality of things. And I think another reality is that you can be using all the protection that you want, even if it's magical protection, and shit fails. If you're having sex 24/7.
Well, yeah, there's that.
So I think if it did happen, it would still fall under, in my mind at least, the realism category.
Okay.
Of, like, shit happens. Mm-hmm. And you are on an island where magic doesn't work, and your birth control is based on magic.
That's true. That's a good point. I didn't think about that part of it.
Someone pointed that out in a video, and I was like, you got a point there. And to me, if I'm being honest, to me, most of the dizziness that happens, like, there's a couple moments where Violet brings up being dizzy and stuff like that, and not feeling good and, like, stomach stuff, but I'm like, most of that can be contributed to her illness, to her chronic illness.
Yeah.
Because those are regular symptoms of it.
Okay.
So, some people are, like, saying pregnancy...
I guess the question is, like, is it out of the ordinary for her? Because it sounds like she's had every other extreme symptom of it. Is it common or not?
Yeah. So, I think that's, like, a wait and see of, like, if those moments were just, like, she's now in doubly high-stress scenarios, and so her chronic illness is acting up.
That's fair.
Or is it pregnancy? And I think it could go either way, and I personally don't care if it goes either way. Mostly because I think it's just... If there's one thing I trust Rebecca Yarros to do right, it's to write the shit that happens in war realistically. Like, to write the aspect of dealing with the military and dealing with the political machinations of being in a military-run country.
Yes.
I trust that to be done right.
Yeah, that's been done pretty well so far. She's not shied away from the brutality of it all.
Yeah. And so, like, if there's an accidental pregnancy thing in book 4, then to me, I'm just like, that just feels like a reality that a woman in the military might deal with.
She's also Violet is kind of a, like a military wife in that she keeps getting sent back to home, which is the Vizcaya War College.
Yeah. So I think if it did happen, I don't see it as something that's necessarily bad like a lot of people do.
Okay.
I see it as something that could fall into the realism category and just be that extra thing that just means that Violet really has to start thinking about herself a little bit.
Okay. Rather than Xaden.
Yeah, herself rather than Xaden. And even, like, to a certain extent, like, there's this moment, like I mentioned, there's this whole scene in the book where, is it Riddick or I think it might be Riddick. Somebody is like, you can't save everyone. Like, you have to stick to a plan. Now, obviously, the not saving everyone thing is very common when it comes to, like, war.
Yeah. You save who you can, but you move on.
Yeah. But I also think there's a lesson in that of, like, you can't save everyone, so at least save yourself. Okay. I think that could be the end of that, and then I think, while baby trope is not a great way to go about it, right. If we're talking, like, writing-wise, but if you combine the military wife thing with realistic of having sex in a place where your birth control is relying on magic... Right. Plus the realisms of accidents fucking happen if you're in war. Like, you're in this military situation and you're female, period. You have a uterus and you can have kids situation, then the baby thing happening, I don't think is necessarily a bad culmination of those things. Okay. But I, again, don't think it's going to happen. I don't think that's going to happen.
It would seem out of character, kind of. It would out of character for the author.
Though I could see it being rather than it being I could see though. I could see maybe a miscarriage situation.
Oh,
it would break.
That's true.
I could really see that happening. How do you feel about that? Because I really could see that happening.
I mean, it's a reality of the combination of a pregnancy, high stress situation, could be used as a point of character growth and motivation.
Yeah, it's just like if she
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, because I was like, wait a minute, what if all the dizziness and stuff is like, oh, she is pregnant, but the baby isn't gonna be the thing. It's gonna be she didn't know, high stress, miscarries. Fuck. Sort of situation.
I don't like that your brain went there, given your past track record of predicting things.
I'm sorry. But I'm, like, trying to think of what's realistic going forward. That's if she decides to go the birth control failed while on the non-magic island route.
And it's interesting that she points out that there is no magic and that the birth control is magical.
Yeah, because I think
like those two different things.
Yeah. So people are, like, on the internet are pretty much like, what about... And my brain is like, well, if we're being truly realistic, it's that her chronic illness is acting up. Yeah.
And I did just look it up, and the internet says that miscarriage is more common in people with Ehlers-Danlos syndrome than in the general population.
Yeah. So that's another thing, right? Like, her disease is... If we go the baby route, she's gonna miscarry.
If we go the baby route, yeah.
I hate to say it, I think she's gonna... If that is a thing, like, if that's what that's hinting towards, then I think she's gonna miscarry.
Poor Violet.
Which would really fucking suck.
It would, but it would... I mean, authors do love the sacrifice as motivation for character development.
Yeah, I just wish it wasn't an unborn child.
Right? I wish it wasn't a challenge that many women face.
Yeah. Yeah. It would have to be done right. It would have to be done so right. Like, you'd have to take several... I think you'd well and truly need to take several chapters worth of time to deal with it.
Most likely. And if the... I mean, it's not the last book, so there is time in the whole escalation process.
That is true. Because if you... I mean, if I was going to write it and try and write it right? Yeah. You'd have the first couple chapters dealing with the tell me what the fuck happened in those 12 hours thing. Because shit, that could be the other reason they get married, other than Tyrandor. Because realistically, Bodhi has Tyrandor.
Yeah.
He doesn't need to...
somebody to trust.
Yeah. So, he didn't need to marry Violet. If we're really thinking about this, why did he marry Violet?
Other than he wanted to. Like, they didn't need to. Right.
There has to be, like, a plot reason to do it.
Right.
And...
they're already soul bound between their dragons, so...
So what better thing to make an heir legitimate than a marriage? If they already know about the pregnancy in those 12 hours.
Look at you.
Oh no, I'd hate the baby route, but my brain is like, how can we make the baby route work? Well, here's how I would do it. Because now that I think about it, them getting married doesn't make sense.
No, because I was like, Bodhi's trustworthy. What's the point? Unless there's a specific reason she needs to be Duchess for their plot. But she would, I think, need to know the plot in order to successfully be Duchess and know that she's Duchess in order to, carry out the part of the plot.
Yeah. And then, like, what does she need to forget that would not only require... Like, what is so dangerous that she cannot remember why she got married?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like the reason behind them getting married is a big one.
Significant.
Yeah. Because it can't just be Tyrandor. Though someone else did become... That's the other thing I forgot. Someone else became Venom at the end.
Oh.
And I think
that's a pretty big plot.
I know. I'm sorry. I forgot. But the thing is, so it's not said directly who became Venom.
Okay.
But in the interviews, in the interviews, Rebecca Yarros is like, okay, at the end of the book, look for who's missing. And so I think it sounds like Garrick became Venom.
Oh, not Garrick.
Yeah. I'm like, oh no, the best friend is gone.
Aw.
So Garrick became, I think it's either Garrick or Bodhi. If it's Bodhi, then it makes sense why Violet got married.
Yes.
Fuck
that
it.
could be a reason.
Because if Bodhi became Venom, then okay, Violet needs to be Duchess.
Yeah.
Who became Venom? Fuck it, we're googling it. Venom at the end of Onyx Storm. Here we go. We know Zayden. AI, you suck. Who turned... Okay, theory. Okay, so this person is saying that it is Bodhi. So what? Where is this? Okay, person, come on. I don't need a long-ass explanation. Because it's not... Come on. Somebody's saying it was Brennan.
There was the theory that he was already Venom.
Yes. So, okay, so there's a couple arguments. So they say argument for Brennan, argument for Bodhi. Let's see, who else? Come on, stop giving me quotes. Argument for Garrick. So we have Brennan. Oh, interesting. So we have Brennan, Bodhi, Garrick, or Eric.
Oh, that would be a complex ending there.
Yeah, because he's the one who, because he's the one who's, like, sees the future and shit. Which I think Eric is the least likely, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, that doesn't really check out.
Yeah. If I'm being honest, the only two that make sense to be Venom and that include Violet getting married.
Okay.
That include that being the reason why Violet needs to be Duchess. Is either Bodhi or Brennan.
Yeah.
Because Bodhi, because he's next in line. Brennan, because that way she can outrank him.
And why would that matter?
Because Brennan is technically general a general and could order Violet around as a cadet.
Gotcha.
But if she is Duchess, he can't do that. So those are the only two that make sense.
She's still a cadet.
She is still a cadet.
Yeah.
Because she's going into, like, her 3rd year or something like that at this point. But I'm trying to think else. Any other fun things that happened in the book? Oh, that's right. Zayden was a professor for a little bit.
Oh? On what?
At Basgiath.
Oh, on what topic?
Like signet control.
Okay. Well, he does have good control over his signet.
Very good control. So there's this whole moment where they're calling him, like, Professor Ryerson, and I'm like, this is the only student-teacher thing I will ever accept in my life. Because there's always a prior established relationship.
Right. He wasn't always a professor.
Yeah. I'm trying to think what else. Oh yeah, we get to see Garrick show off his wind signet. So that was fun. Oh, and we learned that all the marked ones have 2 signets.
Yes. So we already knew that, didn't we?
No, it wasn't confirmed.
Okay.
But it was confirmed in this book that when we were talking about it, that we were like, in the book it said, like, Liam wielded ice, but he had far sight, he could see far away. He wasn't an ice wielder. He was, actually.
Okay. He had 2.
So Garrick is both a wind wielder and a distance wielder.
What is distance?
So he can, like, teleport.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Zayden, we know Zayden's, he can shadow signet, and Intensic, he can read intentions.
Yeah.
Imogen can erase memories and is a stone wielder.
That's cool.
Like, that's what they think that shows up in her chapter. Bodhi we don't know Bodhi's other signet yet, because Bodhi can nullify other signets, but we don't know his other one.
Yeah.
yet. Though some people are like, are Bodhi and Violet gonna get snuggly?
I don't believe that.
And I'm like, that could be fascinating.
I think Zayden would kill somebody.
He would. Him as Venom and then also being obsessed with Violet is gonna be so messy.
It's gonna be so messy.
But it'll be so fun. Good news for you to make you want to read the book. Miscommunication trope, not really there.
That's good. I do like that. I have been listening to all of your explanations about the book, and I'm like interested. It sounds like it's a totally different book than kind of what she had in book 1 and 2.
Yeah, it's really good.
Where things start knitting together here.
Yes. I think final little wrap up thoughts. It's good. No miscommunication trope. This was something that I found very enjoyable. Zayden stops kind of calling Violet violence.
That's good because it was annoying.
Yeah, he starts calling her Vi in love.
Aw, see, that's what you should have from your partner, not violence.
So basically Violet and Zayden just become really fucking cute in this book, and then it crushes your hearts by the end.
Oh. I was gonna say, I love that, but I'm sure it's on purpose to set it up to really make it hurt at the end.
It does hurt at the end.
Yeah.
So, yeah, point is, Cat's not annoying. The plot is really good.
Okay.
I really enjoy the increase. I really enjoy the plot. I really enjoyed the lore. No real miscommunication. Riddick is a great friend. Broccoli. Yeah.
Broccoli. We love broccoli.
So, final verdict. Are you going to give Onyx Storm a try?
It sounds like I'm going to have to. Just because so much has happened. Like, it sounds, the way you've explained it, it sounds like a really good story.
There you go.
Between it all. What's your stars?
I think I gave it 4 stars.
Really? That's like your highest ratings.
So far.
Give.
I'm waiting on a 5-star book.
I know. We're still waiting on the illustrious 5 stars.
One day, when I find the true 5-star book, then we'll know we have to read it.
We'll put it in a glass case.
Maybe. It might need to be.
Like,
It might actually need to be. The last thing I wanted to tell you before we go ahead and wrap this up is when the dramatize, because we know the dramatize is the only way to listen.
It's the only way to listen. And also, when I was reading the summary, I don't know that I've actually read the books, so I was like looking at some of the words for the places, and I was like, I think that one is this. Like, I think that's supposed to be Navarre.
Yeah. So it looks like the full graphic audio will be out. So part 1 comes out at the end of April.
Oh my gosh, so far away.
And then part 2, I believe, comes out at the end of May. Oh no, okay, so according to Graphics Audio website, June 18th is the release date of the second one.
Okay, so you have to wait 2 months between the 2 parts?
I guess so. Let me go back.
It's brutal out here.
No, it says May 7th is part 1.
Okay.
I lied. May 7th is part 1.
Okay.
And June 18th is part 2.
A month and a half.
A month and a half. But it'll be worth it. It'll be so worth it.
It will be. It's so good.
Yeah. It's the shortest out of the books.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
And she fit that much into it?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
It's very concise.
So none of the whole, like, this book would be this big if we got rid of the miscommunication trope.
Yeah. Well, I found out while I was at the release party that she never actually got to edit Iron Flame.
Oh.
Her editor, like, her publisher didn't let her edit Iron Flame.
Interesting. I wonder why.
Oh.
Timing?
I think they were forcing her to release by a certain date.
And she took too long to write it.
Yeah, because Iron Flame has a lot in it.
It does, yeah. That makes sense then. So she must have had time to edit this one, which is why it's so much better. Because we all know that the first draft is never the best draft. No.
What?
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for the playthrough on Onyx Storm.
I got you.
Now I am interested because I was like, I don't know that I actually want to read it.
Yeah. That's fair. That's
now
fair.
I do want to read it.
Because it's good. It's actually a good book.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
So next time, and your mission for the next 2 weeks.
Oh no.
You have to listen to From Blood and Ash.
I forgot. I got distracted by Apprentice to the Villain.
It's such a good book, though.
It's so good.
But From Blood and Ash, I'm going to start listening to the graphic audio.
Okay. So we're going to be fighting each other for who gets it first on Hoopla.
Oh, what? 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 I'm going to win. Already doing it right now.
Oh.
I'm getting on that waiting list.
Is it a waiting list?
I'm probably. But Blood and Ash. Come on. Come on. Not Blood and Armor, fuck you. Blood and Ash. Blood and Ash, come on. There it is.
It's a wait list.
There is. No, Part 2, of course, is not on a wait list.
Of course not. Hold placed.
Me too.
Where's my position? It doesn't tell me my position in line. Oh, I'm next in line.
I'm after you. Shit. I hate you.
Got it.
Damn it.
Because I always have Hoopla strapped and loaded.
That's fair. I binge listened to a 4-book series.
What was
in like
it?
2 days. I told you it's the Gang of Ghouls series I was listening.
Oh, yes. Is that on Hoopla?
It is. It's graphic audio.
Oh.
10 out of 10 recommend. It's so cheesily bad, but so cheesily good at the same time.
Stalking Dead.
Yep, that's the first one.
I don't know that I can do that. The cover, I don't know that I can
do it. It's so trashy.
It's only got 3 stars.
It's good. I genuinely liked it. I think I gave the whole series a 4-star.
Your highest rating.
Because I went for the why choose and stayed for the plot, because the plot was actually really well done.
Incredible. I'll put it on my list to listen to.
And on that note, I guess I'm gonna listen to the graphic audio of maybe the Crave series.
There you go.
Because that's available.
Once I have From Blood and Ash, I'll be fast.
That's true. Once you have it, you will be really fast. So. I'll give you that.
Yes.
Okay.
That's one thing I do well, and that is listen to an audiobook obsessively.
That is
until
fair.
It's done.
That's fair. So have fun.
Thank you. And next time From Blood and Ash, which is apparently not what I thought it was, and we'll find out what it actually is.
Yes. I'm excited.
Okay. I am too, because my brain erased it, so it's like experiencing it for the whole first time.
And I'm about to get into the prequel series for the first time in a long time, so I need a refresher.
There you go. Just so you can make sure that it's actually Poppy is not the same character as
Isolde.
that one.
Yeah.
Isolde, yes. Good luck.
Thanks. Well,
until next time.
bye.